Hola, senor. How are you today? Okay, yes, that is me bashing public school. Bashing public school. All right. Let's get TikTok on the line. Let's get you on the line, TikTok. Let's get you on the line, TikTok. Okay, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Good morning, Hardwood Bear. And a glorious morning it is. All right, let's call this homeschooling. Let's call it Nature School. Nature School. That's a good title. It's a good title. I don't have Coddington. I need Coddington. I need someone to make me titles. I just all right. Nature School. Nature School. Okay. All right. Nature School. It took him all morning to come up with Nature School. All right. You call yourself an educator? You're not an educator. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are trying to educate the next generation? You think, what do you write those books? Did anyone give you permission to write those books? Did you ask your government if you could write those books? No, senor, I did not. I just wrote the books. I wrote the books on the free speech. I wrote the books on the Second Amendment. I wrote the books on the fake news media. I wrote the books on the Jekyll Island and the Federal Reserve Bank. I wrote the books on the dangers of socialism, although every time I post the book, all the socialists tell me, that is not real socialism, and I say, oh, you're stupid. And I wrote the book on You Are What You Eat, and I wrote another book, You Are What You Eat too, but my illustrator is in Russia, and my good buddy who's an attorney made a valid point that it might be a bad idea to send money to Russia at the current moment, because the powers that be are insane, deranged, psychopathic lunatics. I digress. Let's pull TikTok in. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Vietnam. TikTok. It is a beautiful day here in the sunny South. The sun is shining, my sprinkler is going, which means my pepper plants are very happy right now. My son is flying his kite, my dog is rolling around in what I could only assume to be another animal's urine, and it is absolutely wonderful out here. And today, we are going to talk about using nature to educate our children. One of the 13 quadrillion reasons why homeschooling is advantageous over public schooling. You simply cannot replicate the flexibility you have in following the interest of your child, using the resources around you, and not making school, but making life school. And ultimately, that is the primary advantage of homeschooling. We can live our life and turn everything into an educational opportunity. Just saw your video from a few minutes ago. Wow, talk about facts. We're dropping facts. Thank you, Melissa. So far this year, we've been doing a year-long nature unit study, and right now we are currently focusing on herbs, which is really cool. It's something I was very passionate about getting to. My wife is an acupuncturist. She's a doctor of Chinese medicine. She's actually currently coming out with a game that's designed to teach children about plant identification. So she has really taken the lead in setting up the herb section of our year-long nature unit study. And last week, we had our children go out into nature and forage for white clover flowers. And white clovers are awesome because they're typically categorized as a weed in our modern culture, But of course, they have all types of health benefits, and it's a great way to teach our children that they can benefit and they can grow stronger by using the world around them. So the children went foraging and they looked for white clover flowers. They got the white clover flowers and they turned them into a tea remedy. And of course, they learned all about the parts and they learned all about Oregon Trail with herbs. Yeah, they learned all about the parts of the flower and the health benefits. And this week, we're staying right on that theme, but we are doing it with dandelions. And of course, dandelions, which many people don't think twice about, actually, allegedly could be beneficial in many ways. They could be anti-inflammatory, which is great. I need anti-inflammatory stuff in my diet. They could be good in aiding digestion, allegedly, could it be? People have said. Gotta be careful what you say around these parts, you know what I mean, jelly beans. But they have all these benefits. So this week, what we're doing is we're having our children study those benefits. But as I always state, education is nothing if it's not in context. Do you have the Picture This app? I don't, but that sound, what do you take pictures of the flowers and it tells you about it? If that's the case, let me know because I'll add that to Homeschools Connected. That's really cool. So what they're doing is they're foraging for dandelions. They're learning about the health benefits of dandelions. And from there, they will be making a jelly out of the dandelions. What happened?
Can we go to the kite festival?
You want to go to a kite festival?
Yeah, where there's lots of wind and we can fly kites.
I'll tell you what. Remind me after the stream, and if you want...
Wait, I didn't remind you of something. We're going to make airplanes that are like Captain America.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. All right, so after the stream, we'll make an airplane that is Captain America airplane.
Yeah.
Okay, and we could also do research to see if there's any kite festivals.
Yeah. Well, I think lots of people go there.
Is that a done deal?
Yeah. Lots of people go to the kite festivals and bring their kite. They bring different kites, but I'm bringing this kite.
All right, well, we'll do it after, but Daddy has to do my stream right now, okay?
This string is really strong.
It's a strong string. All right, I love you.
Love you.
All right. So, yeah, he wants to make a Captain America plane with July 4th coming up. We were reading the July 4th story last night before bed, and he was really into it. We learned all about the Liberty Bell. We did research into the Liberty Bell, and he wanted to know how it got its crack, which for those of you that don't know, this was news to me, they're actually not certain how or when it got its crack, but they believe it happened between 1824 and 1842. So Brady got a kick out of that. Anyway, where were we? So we were talking about dandelions. So we're studying the properties, and the children are learning about, we're studying the properties, and the children will be actually taking the dandelions and making them into an at-home jelly, which is something that's really cool. And of course, they're learning alchemistry, they're learning herbology, and there's so many lessons within that, and how you could teach your children to manipulate the world around them. And I posted a video on Cubs to Bears this morning, which was really all about that and what we've been doing with the year-long nature unit study, in which the children, when they're studying photosynthesis, they shouldn't. When they're studying, I was reading an email. When they're studying photosynthesis, they shouldn't just be learning the process of photosynthesis. They should be doing it in the context of gardening. And when they're gardening, they shouldn't just be constructing. They shouldn't just be gardening. They should be constructing garden boxes, and that allows them to develop the skill of construction. And of course, for anyone that is familiar with my philosophy and what I do and what I preach about education, and I can't stress this enough, skills over subject matter. Not that subjects don't matter, but it only takes one skill to free a man. And when you teach your children construction, when you teach them engineering, when you teach them alchemistry, I mean, I know a guy, there's this guy, Benjamin Balderson, out in California. real legend, real smart guy. And he grows, it's legal there, so he grows hemp. And he was talking about the process he goes through, this alchemical process. And he doesn't just grow the hemp, but he breaks it down to all of its root chemicals. So he's able to separate all of the oils and all of the salts of the plant. And then he's able to use the salts and the oils in different remedies that he makes, and he sells them online. And that's what he does for a living. The skill of alchemistry. It only takes one skill to free a man, but schools don't teach skills. Schools, they pretend to teach skills. They'll say, oh, we have a wood shop class. Yeah, I took wood shop. I took it for one semester in 8th grade. And that's all, in 15 years of schooling, that's all they did. That's not learning a craft. That's absurd. It's an absurd notion. I remember I took a cooking class in middle school. Oh, they teach the culinary arts. No, I took one cooking class in 15 years when I was 10 years old. That's not teaching the culinary arts. Now, if your student wants to be, if your child's into cooking, that's great, because I could point you in the direction of $10 books that you could get on Amazon, which are designed to teach children how to be little chefs. I could point you in the direction. By the way, I go back and answer every one of your questions. I just like to get through my rant first, because I find if I don't, I get derailed. I can point you in the direction of classes, courses they offer online for children that are a little older, middle school age, that are taught by professional chefs and designed to teach your child to be a professional chef. I can help you with ideas in terms of, all right, your child wants experience as a chef. All right, go to your church, or if you're not in a church, just go volunteer at a local church. It's not the worst thing in the world. Say, hey, I want to help you raise some money. You do? Great. And say, I'd like to host, I would like to host an event. And then you say, great, you want to host the event, what do you need? And you say, well, I'd like to cook a meal for your church, and you could sell it for the profit, whatever. And from there, you start to make connections. And you say, the only thing that I ask is that you let your parishioners know that, one, I cook the meal and that I am available to be hired, right? So you could start a whole business with that. Say, let your parishioners know that I cater events, and whether it's a church event, a birthday party, I'd be willing to cook for your party, and then your child has a business like that. And it's not that serious a business. It's just if someone calls, they get work. Or to let your parishioners know that you would very much like to do an apprenticeship with a chef at a restaurant. And then what you'll find if you've been a member of these churches, like my church, there are 2 local restaurants that go to my church, and at every event they donate so much food, it's ridiculous. They're at church every Sunday, right? So if the pastor said, hey, this young person did this, they cooked for the church, and they like to do an apprenticeship learning the culinary arts, then the business owners that own those restaurants that are very into the church, I guarantee you they'd say, you could come work for me and I'll teach you to cook, right? I feel like you're talking to me, and I hope so. That's what I try to do, right? One, because that's the best way to communicate, and 2, it's just if you study how to connect with people, like when you make TikToks in general, right? Like if you make a TikTok, a lot of people make the mistake of like trying to talk to the general audience, but what you really want to do when you make a TikTok is you want to talk to the individual person that's holding their phone and watching you, right? Like, yes, you might be able to get an audience of 500,000 people, but it's 500,000 individual conversations, right? So when I communicate, I do want to communicate directly to you. And by the way, if you haven't been here, I'm pretty much an open book. I'm not like a lot of your social media curated, political correct nonsense people. This is who I am. I'm not for everyone. I'm going to say things, no matter what your worldview is. I will say things that will trigger your worldview, that will challenge your worldview. And that's fine. That's fine. I want to attract open-minded people, and I want to weed out snowflakes, because I don't want snowflakes joining my homeschool community. I've created a culture, a really good culture of homeschool mothers and fathers that we have open dialogue. We talk about educating our children, And we talk about the world. We talk about the controversial things going on in the world. And people do it respectfully because we know that there's a lot of very smart people in our community, well-read, well-educated people. And I don't mean educated by the school system because you know how I feel about that. And don't get me wrong, I have a master's degree, all right? But I'm talking about people that view life as education. And to me, that's really what it's all about. I've been watching wooden nickel videos all morning, and I'm not convinced anything is really happening in that place that's also known as the breadbasket of the world. So you gotta be careful how I word that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to that situation because I just know they lie about everything. It's a great homeschooling community. All right, let me go back. I'm going to read some comments. Homeschool was the best gift. Yeah, well, the thing is, people they get scared about it, but once you start, person after person, or man and woman will tell you time and time again that homeschooling is the best decision they ever made. For one, because you're keeping your children away from the gross indoctrination taking place in public school. You're raising them to be critical thinkers, because in public school, are they raising critical thinkers? Or are they teaching your children that truth comes from authority, right? If they're telling your children that they have to cover their face for the last 2 years, and at the school board meetings, they're blowing off anyone who questions that narrative. They're saying, oh, no, parents, you're out of line. You don't know what you're talking about, right? Doctor wants to give you an ouchie, said this or that, right? Well, then are they teaching your children to question authority within the school system? They're not. They're not. The function of the school system is to train your child to outsource their thinking to authority, which is why they have such a problem with someone like me who has a big problem with authority, who has a big problem with the institutions of the United States of America. I have a big problem with the institution of the Department of Indoctrination. I have a big problem with the institution of the Department of War. That's right. It used to be called the Department of War, but they realized that was poor branding, so they changed the name to the Department of Defense. I think I want to make a video on that tomorrow. I think that would be a good video. Right? I have a problem with the Department of Indoctrination. I have a problem with the Department of War. I have a problem with the corporate mainstream media, and I always like to preface it with corporate because that's what it is. I have a problem with the institution of Hollywood. I have a problem with the institution of popularized or mainstream music in which they only promote artists who rap about violence and hoes, right? But art reflects the beauty of the world. Art reflects truth. Art reflects morality, real art, right? So if they weren't suppressing real art, there would be more songs about being a husband and being a wife, right? Because these are the things that move us emotionally. Nothing moves me emotionally like the love I have for my wife. So why aren't there more songs about that? There would be more songs about the love a parent has for a child and the experience of being a parent. There would be more songs about people through the artistic lens of music talking about their world experiences growing up as a child, right? There would be more songs about, not on a superficial virtue signaling level, but the real depravity in the world, the real struggle in the world, the real human experience in the world. But we don't have those things because it's controlled by this institutionalized system. And as much as I rip on the woke population, the one thing they have right is they say that there is a problem in America with institutionalized power. The reason that they're, it's like they've been dropped on the head is because they don't understand. I mean, how do you say that and then not see that all of the institutionalized power is behind the woke ideology, right? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? That's another great video too. All right, institutionalized power being behind the woke. Isn't it ironic? That's a good video. And the Department of War. I hope I remember that because I'm definitely going to forget that. Someone inbox me that. Inbox me that. Inbox me. Homeschool's Connected. Remind me to make a video on those two things. Did y'all know Cubs to Bears books is for any age? I enjoyed them with as many kids as my kid. I enjoyed them as much as my kids did. Thank you, Melissa. And yeah, I did try to write them. Like, I tried to write them to have layers of depth so that even adults learn new things from them as they read. This will be my 3rd year teaching, and I'm always wanting to learn new hands-on ways for my students. And we need people like you. Like, don't think for a second because I bash public school all the time that I'm against good teachers. We need good teachers in America, and it sounds like you're one of them. So, yeah, let your children learn hands-on. Find ways to, with all your assignments, the more context you could provide, the better. And I know it's hard to do that, especially in a restricted setting. But like the example I gave earlier, when your children learn surface area, if they're calculating the surface area of a garden they're planting, well, now it has context to them. Now it has meaning. Now they're not going to say, well, when am I ever going to use this? I'm going to tune you out. I don't really care to learn it, right? So context is so powerful, right? And it completely undermines the indifference nature that public school causes, where children become completely indifferent to the work that they're doing, right? Hey, little Johnny, do this assignment. And then after 45 minutes, the bell rings. Doesn't matter if they finish the assignment or not. They take that piece of paper, they put it in a binder and never think about it again, or they crumple it up and they throw it, right? So, you know, there's that. I'll be homeschooling my 2 girls in a few years. Love seeing your videos. And that will be the best decision you ever made to homeschool your children. I mean, I don't know. You've probably made some other good decisions too, but it's a good one. It's up there. I try to be careful with the claims I make, right? Like, I'm an influencer, right? I have public influence, so like, it will be the best decision you've ever made. Like, it'll be a very good decision. I don't know all your decisions. I want to make accurate claims. Hey, Bear Mini Mom. Hey, hey, hey. I still get criticized for homeschooling my kids. Well, a lot of times when people are criticizing others, they're not really criticizing you. They're attacking you because you reflect their shortcomings. So it's very easy for a person to say, a person who put their child into daycare, or a person who put their child into a government indoctrination camp for 8 hours a day so that they can have 8 hours of free time doing whatever it is they want to do, whether that's working a job or kicking their feet up, whatever it is that they do, to criticize someone who voluntarily says, no, I don't want 8 hours of free time from my children a day to do whatever I want. Yeah, what's harder? Take my children and drop them off somewhere and have 8 hours to do what I want to do, or to have my children there all the time and still have to do all my responsibility, right? So the homeschool parent takes on much more responsibility. So you reflect that in them. They see that, and because of that, rather than acknowledging that truth, it's, oh, don't you know? Don't you know your child's not going to be socialized? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? How is your child socialized? Oh, they're being told that they better cover their face, that if they don't, it's a threat to grandma. They're being told that if they get within 6 feet of their friends, that's a threat to themselves and a threat to their, yeah, that sounds like really good socialization. Or does it sound like something that might create psychological problems? I don't know. You tell me. You know, I don't want to make any claims. You ever heard of hypochondria? Jesus. Right? Or, you know, it's not like there's a big problem with cliques in public. It's not like every movie you've ever seen has depicted the cliques in public school. Like, there's the football team, and they hang out with the football team, and there's the punk kids, and they hung out with the punk kids. And then there's the Dungeons and Dragons kids, and they hung out with the Dungeons and Dragons kids. And they don't get along, but they do give each other a lot of wedgies and have fistfights in the hallway. Oh, and it's not like we have a big problem with bullying and extreme anxiety and depression in the United States of America stemming directly from our public schools, and a big problem with teen you-know-what aside, right? Or it's not like we have a problem with public schools breeding such mental illness that they come back into the school with you-know-what, and they do you-know-what in the schools, right? And then they blame a hammer, they blame a tool, rather than the mental illness created by the institution of public schooling. But you want to tell me about socialization, don't you? You want to tell me about socialization. Or what? You want to talk about, yeah, but they're not going to get an education that's as good. Their education won't be as good. Oh, really? Well, how do you want to measure that? How do you want to how do you want to measure your oh-so-objective claim? Who does better on the SATs? Homeschool students or public school students? Homeschool students? By a very significant margin. Who does better on the SATs? Homeschool students or private schools? Homeschool students. Who does better on state-issued standardized testing? Homeschool students or public school students and private school students? It's homeschool students again. Who's more entrepreneurial? Homeschool students or public school students? Homeschool students again. It's not even close. So don't let them shame you. You are a reflection of the easy route that they took in their life. And now, rather than acknowledging how great it is what you're doing, they try to put you down because that puts them on your level, right? Rather than elevating themselves, they want to bring you down. And always be wary of people that want to bring you down to their level rather than elevate to your level. In fact, I always try to surround myself with people that inspire me to elevate to their level. So the people I surround myself with, I actually view as being elevated above me, and I'm trying to get to their level. Always surround yourself with people that have no interest in bringing you down, that are always elevating, always right. And that doesn't mean in money. I mean, it could, right? Like, yeah, of course you want to make more money. That's not a bad thing. But they're elevating in their spirituality. They're elevating in their mindset. They're elevating in their career. They're elevating in their life as a family. Be around people that want to elevate you, and the very nature, the energy that comes off of them will result in you raising your level. Right? And so many people get trapped in the cycle of surrounding themselves with people that will put them down. And I've been there in my life. I've had those people in my life, those naysayers, but I've always had the self-esteem to block them out and say, and I use them as motivation, like, oh yeah, I guess we'll see. Once you go bare, you never go back. Ain't that the truth? Unless you're a Gamma, because then you get triggered. And you're like, how dare you? How dare you? My favorite thing ever was the video someone made. There was that girl, Greta, who was trying to push the climate stuff on everyone. And in one of her interviews, she was like, how dare you? And then someone took that clip and they made it into a song, and it was just Greta like, how dare you? With the music over it, how dare you? It was such great art. Like, that's beautiful art. Like, you take what people are doing to control you, and you just turn it into mockery. Like, they tried to use this little girl by saying, if you go against our agenda, then you're somehow against this little girl and she's a victim, right? And then there's like, how dare you? They're trying to shame you. And then you just take their shame tactic and you just mock it right back at them like, how dare you? Oh, she's so annoying. Yeah, I mean, listen, she's a girl, you know, she was a kid, right? And they used her. Like, it's easy to be mad at Greta. She was a little kid. They used her, right? Like, her parents, I judge. But, like, you know, I don't think kids have any place in the political world. And the notion that a kid has any place talking about globalist politics. Okay, yeah. Most 40-year-olds I know can't comprehend globalist politics, but yeah, you know, 15-year-old Greta really had her finger on the pulse. You know, it's all a show, it's all theater. It's all to manipulate your emotions, and you could either fall for it or you could just laugh at it. How dare you? They're just giving you time to go to work. Critical thinking isn't just not believing the government, dude. It's looking at proof. Wait. You mean I actually have to use my discernment to think critically? Thank you. Thanks, man. I didn't know that. I thought critical thinking was just disagreeing with the government. Yeah. Haven't you seen my proofs? Did I mention that I have a bachelor's degree in history education, a master's degree in special education, graduated with a 4.0 GPA from my master's program, and run a homeschooling company in which I teach children to not listen to historical narratives, but to read the primary writings of historical figures and use their discernment? I digress. You're telling me critical thinking involves thinking? You're onto something. You're onto something. How dare you disagree with Mr. Wants to Give You an Ouchie? How dare you? How dare you? How double dog dare you disagree with Mr. Wants to Give You an Ouchie? Are you a denier? Do you deny the science? Are you a denier? Do you deny the religious doctrine of Wants to Give You an Ouchie? Have you thought critically about your denial? Why, yes, I have. Okay. That's why you're the best teacher in the world, Brett. I don't know if I'm the best in the world, but I'm definitely in the upper percentiles of teachers. And you're all a blessing. And I mean, put it this way: there are homeschool mothers that are better teachers than me, right? I'm an important figure to the movement of pushing back against the education system, because I am rather abrasive and in your face, and I'm pretty good rhetorically. Again, even with that, like, there's people that are a lot better rhetorically than me, but I'm in the upper echelons of knowing how to do this stuff. You know, relatively speaking, like there's some people that are very powerful with that, but I'm a very positive piece of a movement. But I mean, there are phenomenal teachers in this world. I mean, you know, I just look on TikTok with TikTok personalities alone. Like, Kaylee, she's phenomenal, right? She's a phenomenal teacher, homeschool mother. Everyone should follow her. What's her name? Christy Faith, right? I mean, that woman knows a lot about education and homeschooling. She's very impressive. And there's so many more people like that. You know, Connor Bayok's doing great things. There's the, what's her name? The woman who puts together the Gather Round curriculum. She's phenomenal, right? I mean, so there are so many great educators in the world. And the beautiful thing about today is we have the ability as parents to have these people in our lives. And like a lot of people would think like, oh, those are Brett's competition and whatnot. No, I think they're awesome. I think they're awesome. And I think we need more people like them. I want to support them. I want, there's I did an interview with him, Josh, at Homeschool Effect. He's a very impressive young man. And he, you know, he needs to get his wife pregnant. I told him he needs to get his wife pregnant. You know, you're 25, Josh. Get your wife pregnant. Be fruitful and multiply. We need more good people. So, you know, but there's a lot of good people. But thank you. And I'm definitely in the upper echelon in terms of educators. And not just like in the world. I do consider myself that, but not the best. There's a lot of really good educators. There's no reason for a parent to work 8 hours, but yet it's 10 hours with transport. Yeah, and listen, it's not everyone could have the full flexibility to homeschool the way they want, but you know, what we all can do is based on our situations, do the best job we can. And for some people, that might involve co-ops. For some people, that might involve private schools. For some people, that might involve researching school districts and getting their children into a public school that better fits what's important to them. And I don't know every public school in America. I'm sure there's some good ones, right? You know, ultimately they have to deal with the nonsense of the Department of Indoctrination and the Prussian system and how it's set up. But there are good people, right? And we need to find these people, identify these people, and support good people. Right? If we want to build a better world, support good people. Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a few ways to do it. You could be a master of one trade, and that you could be phenomenal at that trade, make the world better, do great for your family, be a provider, right? Like, all those things, and that's one way to do it. Or there's people that are maybe not a master of one, but are like my father-in-law. You know, I don't think he's probably not the best at anything. He's good, but he's really good at a lot of things. And he's like 60. I don't know how old he is. He's 60 something, but he at this point in his life, I think he's probably owned about 6 or 7 businesses, and every one of them have been successful. He's built them up, sold them, built them up, sold them, and he gets into new things that he's interested in. And he's a jack of all trades, and trust me, like if your child grows up to be like my father-in-law, I mean, he's one impressive dude. So there's no one right way to educate a person. There's no one right way to be. It's just make sure you have a plan for whatever you do. I listen to rap, but it's Christian rap with a positive message. Oh yeah, there's that guy on TikTok that that guy who he doesn't look like this. I don't want to mention it. He looks like this on TikTok. He raps. He's phenomenal. The Christian rapper. I've shared him on my Instagram a few times, but I forget his name. He's really good. I always enjoy his raps. He has a beard. He's a really legendary beard. He's a crusher. He's a crusher. I would like to state for a record, now this conversation goes in this direction, since I get a lot of accusations sent my way by crazy woke people. Well, anyway, Josh from Homeschool Effect, yeah, he's this too, right? Like that rapper, yeah. Because I actually promote good people and I don't care about that stuff, unlike you psychopaths who obsess over this. You psychopaths. Okay? Who cares? Cares? My people are good people. I had a whole Instagram argument with this guy who was obsessing over that. And he was like, you preach a good message, but I know you're up to something. He was like, why are you against your people? And I was like, who are my people? And he's like, I'm like, I don't think you know who my people are. My people are good people, right? They're people of God, and that doesn't even mean Christian. Like my people are Christians. They're good Muslims. They're good Jews. My people are good agnostics and good atheists who just try to do what's right. My enemies are people of the lie, people who embrace lies. Like I said with the abortion debate yesterday. Like obviously I have strong opinions on abortion, but I actually don't judge someone who says that they're for abortion as long as they say they acknowledge it is a life, right? Because at least they're being honest, right? If they want to have the conversation and say, listen, I understand it's a life, but I think we should be in a society that if a girl is under enough stress and there's been trauma like rape, they think it's appropriate for abortion. I'll respect their opinion, right? I have a problem with the children of the lie. I have a problem with someone's like, no, it's not even alive. It's not even like, it's just a clump of cells. Like, no, now you're lying. And you might be lying to yourself, but you're lying, right? My people are people of truth because the children of the lie, those are the children of Satan, okay? So it's like, yeah, I had this guy and he's like, your people. And I'm like, who are my people? And he's like, so for 500 years, you're going against the people that have been setting things up for your people. I'm like, oh, is that what you think? You think the aristocracy's been setting things, been doing things for my people? Like you are a brainwashed, hate-derived, like you're everything you think you're against, you actually are. And that's why I like Owen Benjamin when he talks about the controllers like really just being comedians, because they through their brainwashing turn people in to everything those people claim to hate. So like the woke people who claim they're so against judging people by outward characteristics are actually obsessed with outward characteristics, right? It's a joke, it's comedy, right? Right? And they'll look at someone like me who, in my heart of hearts, I don't care. I really don't care. Like I grew up in an area, like I grew up in New York in like the literal most diverse environment you could grow up in. And I knew good people of all backgrounds and I knew shitty people of all backgrounds, right? So it's like, these people are such clowns and, but it is a big joke and, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking critically. Maybe I'm just not listening to authority. I'm not woke. You're not woke, bro. You're not woke, bro. You're not woke, bro. You sleeping at the wheel? Woke. Such a clown world. Such a clown world. There was a truther movement. And the phrase for truther movement was awake. You're awake, right? It's the reference in The Matrix, right? That's why The Matrix was made back in 2001. It was all about awakening. It was a reference to truther narratives, right? That you see past the lies of the institutions, right? And in 2016, 15, 16, a lot of people started to kind of wake up. Not that they really woke up, but they kind of started to wake up, to be aware, to have a level of consciousness where they were aware of like there's this thing called being awake. So what the controllers did was they hijacked the term. So they were like, oh no, we can't have our people being the sleeping people. So they were like, okay, the people who buy into everything institutional power says, they're woke. They're woke. Like how dumb, like it's I digress. You're not even woke, bro. Are you even woke? If parents have to work 12 hours, they'll never see their kids. You're an anchor on the economy. I'm an anchor on the economy? I have no debt. I'm not in debt. I raise my children. I don't take any government handouts. I own my own business. I'm my own boss. I publish 7 books. I homeschool my children. No, I don't think I'm an anchor on the economy. Not when you set up a side business. In fact, we teach the opposite depending on government. Right. Which is why homeschool children are so much more entrepreneurial than their public school counterparts, right? Because it's all about educating your children to actually live free so that they're not only dependent on homeschool children are raised to not only not be dependent on the government, but not to be dependent on corporations, to actually start their own businesses, and to not even be dependent on their parents. Yeah, the higher ups want women working so that they can have the children, because if they have the children, they could brainwash the children, right, into their system of institutional power, which completely backs the woke globalist agenda, right? See, people who support that can't ever be honest. They can't think critically. They can't allow themselves to be honest, because if you objectively analyze all of the institutional power, all of it supports globalist government, right, and the woke agenda. So when you see that, you realize that once you acknowledge that, if you're still fighting for the same message as that institutional power, you're actually fighting for the very oppression you're claiming to be against, right? It's a joke. It's comedy. But they create cognitive dissonance in these people. They're completely controlled by emotions, and they do it. The people won't acknowledge it. They won't see it. It takes like an ounce of discernment to see it, and it is what it is. Yeah, and you should go watch some Yuri Bezmenov videos about what they plan to do to all you woke people. Which I don't support, by the way. Oh, I'm a teacher, but I don't teach in public schools. Awesome. It jumped. I got to go back and find where I was. Where was I? They are on the wrong side. Join the community and make a business with classrooms for Cubs to Bears. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with Homeschools Connected. And what we do is I kind of coach everyone on unschooling. So everyone's doing their own degree of unschooling. And the objective of that is to get children entrepreneurial experience. But then on top of it, we have a year-long nature unit study in which, like in the study, one of the things the children did was they were instructed how to make ladybug feeders, and then they were shown how they could sell their ladybug feeders on Etsy if them and their parents want to pursue that. Our lesson number 22 was all about how to start a summer flower business where the children grow their own flowers, and then they sell them at the end of the summer in a front yard sale, door to door, or they actually make a sales pitch and go to a local garden center to see if they could sell their flowers at wholesale. Do you need multiple subscriptions? I got to sit up a little more. I was slouching to try to work with the camera, but my back's hurting. Sorry, YouTube. You're going to awkward angle, but it's fine. You'll be all right. You look up my big schlage. Do they need multiple subscriptions? No. It's $10 for your entire family. $10 a month, and your family gets access to everything. In my first year, I introduced a student-run recycling program. I love that. And for people that aren't familiar with what I do, because they see me and they're like, look at him. Look at him. He's a right winger. Look at him. The right to bear arms. He's so right wing. He's so right wing. He says the news is fake news. Look at him. Look at him. He's against the Federal Reserve Bank. He's so right wing. Oh, I mean, a lot of conservatives are completely lost to that, but he's so right wing. He says socialism is bad. Right? Like, right? No, I'm an environmentalist. Absolutely. I'm an absolutely environmentalist. Not that I buy into their climate change narrative, but yes, that is how we actually be environmentalists. Like, have your children planting trees, have your children picking up garbage on the side of the road, and have your children doing a recycling program. I would actually be very interested. Would you be interested? Can you email me at classicallearnertoday@gmail.com and tell me exactly what you did? I'd be very interested in knowing about it because I might be able to turn it into like a little program so other people could replicate what you did, and that would be really great. I would consider being against the Fed a left-wing view. I don't know. I'd have to think about that because, like, when you read the communist algorithm manifesto, when you read that manifesto, hold on, this thing wants to kill me. I don't like the little spiders. Not in the South. Song of the South. I ain't mad at you, Spider. I'm just afraid of you. Sorry about that, brother. All right. Yeah, because when you read the manifesto, one of their goals is the taking over of the banking system. So that in its nature is a very left-wing position. But like right-wing America doesn't get it either. Like conservative America, which is like allegedly right-wing America, you know, they're not very aware of the Fed, and you know, they think like the problem with the monetary system is they just need to balance the budget because they don't understand that there is no balancing the budget because all of our money is debt, right? So like there is more money in debt than there is money in circulation. Money is debt. It's not backed by anything, right? Like when you take out a mortgage, the bank doesn't have that money, right? That money doesn't exist beforehand. They're allowed to loan out at fractional reserves. So like, I'm just gonna make the numbers simple. If they have, I think it's $9, they could loan out $90 for every $9 they have, and I think it's even worse than that now. So it's not real money. And conservative America, it's really lost on them that that's how the system works. So you'll get like, oh, we need to balance the budget. Like there is no balancing the budget. There's more money and, you know, there's like $20 trillion in unfunded liabilities. There's no balancing the budget. It's just this, it's why they're trying to do this financial reset. It's why they're trying to get to the digital dollar. I think it's why they're probably purposely managing a financial collapse. They're trying to slow burn it because they're going to get things so bad that they could offer you a new deal. But, you know, it's going to be a raw deal. So the first thing they have to do is make things really bad. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a left-wing position. I don't know if it's a right-wing position. The libertarians understand the Fed. Anarcho-capitalists generally understand the Fed. I think Christian nationalists generally understand the Fed. But, you know, again, these are generalities, so... Oh, what do you want me to remind you for the video? The Department of Defense was made the Department of War. So Department of Defense, Department of War. And what was the other one? It's Department of Defense and Department of War. I already forgot the other one. Department of Defense and the Department of War. Oh, and that institutionalized power supports the woke agenda. All of the institutionalized power. I wonder if I could do that in the trolliest way possible. Yeah, I don't think funding is public schools' problem. How do you set up your own school system with my teachings? For one, I would do smaller schools. I think America should get back to more one-room schoolhouses. I think that's a better way to do it. And then it's more manageable in terms of letting the children follow their interest, letting them learn through nature and through entrepreneurship and life. Because when you get into these gigantic institutions, like you could just have a lot of one-room schoolhouses, or not quite one room, but just kind of smaller, rather than just have these massive schools. I think the best way to do it would be decentralization, but I can see the day coming where I try to make big schools, but I don't know. I'm not there yet. Private membership associations. I think if I ever go that route, that's the way I'll go. I have 5 kids, high school, middle school, and elementary, so it's $10 for all. Yeah, it's $10 for your family. His program is awesome. You got this, and we're here to help. Melissa's such a legend, as are all the members of my community. The Feral Patriot's not here today. Homeschool children take next to 0 SATs. Wrong. They also go to college in small numbers. There's no problem with homeschool children getting into college. In fact, there's homeschool children in Harvard and Yale and all of these universities. Bro, you don't know what you're talking about. And the reason that a lot of homeschool children don't go to college is because their parents are aware enough to teach them that college is generally a scam. You're probably like, oh, these dumb homeschool kids don't take out $100,000 in debt to study women's studies. Good luck with that, brother. Like, I'm a homeschool dad, and it is my hope that my children have no desire to go to college. You understand that? Right? I do not want my children to go to college. If they choose to go to college, I'll support them and I'll help them on that endeavor in their life. But my opinion on the matter and my guidance to them will be to pursue skills, trades, and entrepreneurship. And college, only go to college. Like, if my son was like, I want to be a chemical engineer, I would say, okay, if you want to be a chemical engineer, then you should look into going to college. right? But, outside of things of that nature, right, most college majors are complete and utter nonsense, which is why most people find themselves in financial dire straits throughout the majority of their life. Because when they're 18 years old and they've been in this school system for the last 15 years and they haven't been taught the first thing about economics and finances. Oh, they were taught economics. Yeah, they were taught one semester of high school economics. Yeah, I used to teach that course, by the way. High school economics, 12th grade high school economics. They were taught one semester of high school economics. No, these kids aren't taught anything. They're not taught how the economy works. They don't understand debt. They don't understand compound interest. They don't understand unforgivable debt, which the college debt is, which is unforgivable of the elders in our nation, by the way. It's despicable, right? Yeah, nothing says a strong nation but like making sure all of your children start their life in $100,000 of unpayable debt that they don't understand, so that they could get a career in something that only pays them $40,000 a year. Yeah, nothing builds a strong nation like that. Yeah, of course their debt should be forgiven. Oh, but that's not a right-wing view. That's not conservative. I don't care. I don't want all of the young people in America to have $100,000 of debt to corrupt-ass bankers. That's not a strong country. I believe in the American nation. That is not the country I want to live in. That is not how I want young people starting their life, because that breeds desperation, right? That breeds people who look to the government and say, I need your help. And that's what the system wants. That's why it's set up that way. So no, when homeschool children don't go to college, it's not because they can't get in, bro. It's because they know what a cost-benefit analysis is. Whoa, what's a college cost-benefit analysis? Look it up, guy. Jesus. Comes in here and he thinks he's making a point. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. How dare you? How dare you? Homeschool kids don't go to college. That's because they're smarter. That's because they're educated better. Go to college, a university, get a real job. That's what they said to me. But I don't ever want to be like you, and I don't want to do the things you do, and I don't ever want to be you. I don't want to be just like you. That was my thought. Hopefully homeschool kids don't go to college. Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, if your kids want to go to college, have the talk with them about a cost-benefit analysis. Make sure they know what they're getting into. And then, have real discussions about, all right, well, if you're going to go, you got to pick the right major, because you're a kid now, you're 18. But when you come out of the other side of this, you're going to have this debt that you have to pay back. And you're going to want a life. You're going to have a wife and children, and you're going to want cars and, the things that you get throughout life. And if you pick the wrong major, you're going to have a tough time, right? Now, there's some college majors, listen, you go to them, you could right out of college make $150,000 a year. I'm not killing you for that, it's not dumb, but this is the anthem, throw your damn hands up. Keep scrolling if you don't like his opinion. I love it. Do I need more than one computer? No. No. And if you're unemployed, that's a great opportunity for you to try to start your own little side business. Just start small. Just start growing it. Once you make like $100 for the first time in a month, you'll be like, if I can make $100 this month, I can make $1,000 in a month, right? And then you'll just go from there, and you'll be like, what is stopping me from continuing to grow, right? Of course, the government tries to disincentivize people from doing that because they get people on unemployment benefits, and then they're like, oh, if you make a certain amount of money, then we're going to take the benefits away from you, and like, it's the whole system is, it incentivizes, well, complacency. Yeah, Netty Games. I got the games. I think they're awesome. I haven't played them yet, but I'm very excited to try them out. And after I try them out, I might want to speak to you about maybe partnering up or something like that. Because I love Netty Games. They just sent me all these board games in the mail. Spin Doctor, which is designed to teach children the Electoral College. Really cool. And it like teaches children about how the media lies and like political secrets, and it's a really cool setup of a game. Conspiracy Theory, which is designed to not only be a fun game, but to show children why people believe in certain conspiracy theories, which is really cool. And then they have like other games, I think like Wild Joker, a few other games they sent me that I have to look into. But we got them. We're very excited, and I've already made posts about your games, and we'll see. We're going to play them. We're going to check them out. I also put your games in Homeschools Connected. I told everyone about them, so I love what you're doing. You're a builder. I love builders. You're the type of person that I want to support. I want to see flourish, and keep up the good work. So, awesome. Skilled trades had nice jobs. We were laughing the whole time. We're here to help any way we can. And guys, I'm going to say this every single day. If someone in Homeschools Connected asks a question about education, about a problem they're having with homeschooling or anything of that nature, we as a community need to step up. Don't wait for me to answer. Like, I don't want to be the one to answer that question. I want our accumulative thousands of years we have. We have an accumulative thousands of years of homeschooling experience. Every one of those questions should be answered. And the thing is, when we create that culture, when you have a question, guess what happens? Everyone will answer. Everyone will help. Homeschools Connected is what we make it. So let's make it something special. I hit the button. Melissa figured out that I do dance for nickels. So, anyone who wants to tip your bartender, I will jump up on the bar, start dancing, do a few shots. Yeah, my youngest gets bullied sometimes, and after this past school year, the first thing I would do is sign them up for martial arts. They need confidence, so get them in a martial arts class or a wrestling class, get them on a sporting team. That should help. Don't be afraid to teach them about rhetorical comebacks and being a smartass. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If someone's making fun of your child, teach your child how to make it not worth their while to make fun of them. Like, I'm not trying to raise snowflakes, like, if my child's being picked on, I want him to be able to defend himself verbally with comebacks, or I want him to be able to defend himself physically if need be. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll tell you there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You teach your children to defend themselves. And then you teach them morality, and you teach them not to use those abilities, right? You teach them not to use their physical ability to bully someone. You teach them not to use their rhetorical ability to make someone feel bad and pick on them, to not be that. But you teach them how to do it and how to defend themselves. I should, yeah, see. Site 6 Flunk Out also recommends jujitsu. Absolutely right. I gotta go to a chiropractor. Ah, more nickels. Oh. Thank you, thank you. I pulled mine in 3rd grade for bullying, and he's now in high school and thriving. And Melissa is a mother of 7. 7, is that correct, Melissa? Absolute crusher. What a legend. A few years of truth and confidence makes them more immune to the brainwashing. Oh yeah, we have state groups in Homeschools Connected. So we have a North Carolina group, South Carolina group, Ohio group, whatever it is. We have state groups. And people have actually had physical meetups in the real world that have met on Homeschools Connected, which I'm very proud of. That was a dream of mine. That was a dream. And eventually, once we have enough members, like we have hundreds of members right now. Once we have thousands, I could envision us actually having homeschool co-ops throughout the country, and I could quarterback them. And again, I'm kind of a big dreamer, big thinker, but I know we could get there. Like, when I made Homeschools Connected 2 years ago, I made these state groups, and I was like, yeah, we're going to have physical meetups in the real world. And someone might have been like, oh, no, you're not. That's like, yeah, well, we did it. We did it. My son had someone bully him in public school this last year, and my son told the kid what is happening to you in your life and that you got to be this way to me. Proud mom moment. Yeah, that's awesome. And, never feel shame in teaching your child to defend themselves. It's okay. I'm from New York City. Maybe that's why you look so familiar. Yeah, I'm from New York. Awake and awkward. Love you. Thank you. Just jumped a little bit. I just want to try to get through comments. School and education are not the same. Don't want to copy public school schedules. Florida doesn't have unschooling. Yeah, but you could unschool anywhere. Like, all right, so even if you're in a state that does, I don't know if that's, Melissa, is unschooling legal in Florida? Either way, you could always unschool. Like, so you might have to do something a little more formal in terms of like, okay, so we didn't unschool, like we did 11th grade American history, but unschooling is just a philosophy. It's like, follow the interest of your children and study whatever you want. Like, they can't stop you from doing that. How are they going to stop you from doing that? Play ball with them a little bit, but do your thing. Yeah, Melissa's Florida. I unschool, and Charlotte Mason, my 5 Rugrats. But yeah, guys, go check out Netty Games stuff. They're really cool. They're it's probably just, I don't know, Google Netty Games. I'm sure it'll come up. My homeschool kid wants to go to trade school and learn a skill. That's awesome, but here's the thing. Homeschool is trade school. Like, when the time comes, they could go to a formal school. But if your child wants to, let's say your child likes carpentry. I could point you to books on Amazon that are $10 that are designed to teach children as young as 4 carpentry. And then I could show you books for every age level that teach children all the skills of carpentry more and more advanced, right? So you start now. Like, you start doing that unschooling now, where you're teaching them to be a carpenter. And then if they want to go to trade school still when they're 16, great. But don't wait to teach them skills. Teach the skills now. Where can I find homeschooling info to get started? The Homeschool Legal Defense Association is a great place. Yeah, Easy Peasy, All in One Homeschool is free. Time for Learning is another good one. Aren't you supposed to be teaching? How do you have so much time on TikTok? Well, one, I work my butt off, but right now I offer courses in the Bill of Rights and American Revolution, propaganda using the Cubs to Bears children book series, the media industrial complex, and we have a year-long nature unit study. And then we are currently putting out a science-based curriculum, which will be released in the next 2 weeks. And we're building from there. So we don't cover everything, but what we do cover is very valuable. And what we do as a community, as a culture with the unschooling. So I have plenty of time, Steph Canada. I'm assuming you were a troll, but I can assure you that Homeschools Connected absolutely crushes. And that's what's up. Trade school offer so much. And this is why you teach your child to be an entrepreneur. Because I can do a live stream every day from 9:30 to whenever I want. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yesterday I woke up a little late yesterday. I worked from 6 in the morning. I'm usually up at 5. I worked from 6 in the morning until 12 noon. I then hung out with the family from 12 noon to 5 p.m. I worked again from 5 p.m. to 7. I then helped the process of getting the children to sleep. And once the children were sleeping, probably like 8:45, I worked from 8:45 until 11:30 at night. And then I went to bed and I woke up early in the morning and started doing it again. So the beautiful thing about owning your own business is you make your own schedule and you can do whatever you want. Homeschooling doesn't require hours of useless bookwork. Yeah, Netty Games, right? Don't their games look cool? They sent me each game, so I have each game, but I haven't played them yet. But I'm excited to. I'm hoping sometime in the next week or two, Nicole and I will whip out one of them and play it. I think Nicole said she wants to do the conspiracy theory game first, so we'll try that one out and we'll see how we like it. And then I want to do the Spin Doctor game because I think that looks cool. Trades are great. I'm 26, making 25 an hour, and I didn't even think about going to college. And you have no debt, no college debt, and you're absolutely crushing. Yeah, 7 kids, 5 with my travel full time, and 2 in college. That's amazing. I'm from South Africa. Which curriculum is valid internationally? I mean, you would love my curriculum. We have our year-long nature unit study, which is all about learning through nature, learning photosynthesis through gardening, learning soil biology while you're composting, building greenhouses, learning construction, constructing garden boxes, how to sell things online. You'd absolutely love it. I saw so many of your content, have many questions. Tomorrow the seeds are coming. I'm so excited. Did you send me seeds? So, all right, guys, I think I caught up to the comments. I think I will call it a stream on that. I'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And the two in college must have gone. Well, there's nothing wrong with going to college. You just, like I said, you hope that your children do a cost-benefit analysis and, you hope your children are aware of the financial ramifications of whatever decision they make. So, all right, guys, freedom isn't free. We have to earn it every day. If you're interested in what I do, classicallearner.com, Homeschools Connected. And when you join Homeschools Connected, use the discount code FREEDOM, all lowercase, FREEDOM, and it's $10 a month. I will be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm Classical Learner on everything, and I will now do a 10-second count. In which you could calmly watch me sip the refreshing water that no longer has any ice, any lemons, any mints. But they will have ice, lemon, and mints in 10 minutes.